Ladies and gentlemen, Fanatic Francis. So you know me as a regular guy who posts flowers, sunsets, and drawings on Instagram, but actually, here's my music taste. Guys, headbanging is a physical exercise. You should try it sometime. Or rather get some free tutorials by Phil Anselmo from Pantera.
I want to see all you motherfuckers lose your mind. Pepper, start the song again. I'm watching you. I'm watching you like a vulture. Come on.
Or how about Slipknot's Corey Taylor? Or the guy with the neck thicker than a tree stump, George Corpse Grinder Fisher from Cannibal Corpse. Who wouldn't love the pulsating, energizing music that never gets boring no matter how many years have passed? Heavy metal, and by metal I don't mean the 91 metallic elements from the periodic table, you uncultured swine. So if you think millennials are dumbed down by repetitive autotune pop music, well, think again. According to independent digital music distributor and publisher TuneCore says that heavy metal is the fastest growing musical genre last year after they released a recent 2018 data. According to a report made by Loudwire and Kerrang.com, TuneCore's heavy metal genre had a staggering 154% of digital streams, highest of which is Africa, with an accelerating 146% growth. Well, Spotify just discovered that heavy metal is more popular than pop music. I mean, who gives a shit about Taylor Swift, right? According to Mashable Asia, Spotify confirms that metalheads are their biggest listeners, and at the same time, are being called the most loyal. Come on, you know this is great news to all of us metalheads. Surprised or not surprised? Oh well, time to celebrate. Why is heavy metal the most misunderstood musical genre? Or worse, a taboo topic? Probably more taboo than teaching adolescent kids basic sex education. Common words like dark, angry, and even satanic are the most frequent criticisms used against heavy metal. It's as if Nicki Minaj's song Anaconda is any more Christian. If heavy metal is so dark, then why is Slipknot's Corey Taylor without a mask actually looks like the long-lost twin brother of Ed Sheeran that all fangirls are screaming for? So dark. Look at Tom Araya from Slayer, who has an Instagram account with pictures of his granddaughter and a Bob Ross meme. So dark. And I love these two.
Come on, man, I told you some Metallica the other day. No, that's Megadeth, come on. You got Metallica? No, we're not Slayer either, okay? Fuck. We're Metallica, man. Play some fucking Metallica.
Yeah, we all know James Hetfield is a better drummer than you, Lars. Dark. Oh, it's because you associate metal music with goths and emos. It's been a while since I last heard about them since the worst Harry Potter fanfiction, My Immortal, was written by these two.
So, I'm Raven, here as the Bath Princess of the Darkness. And I'm Tara. And we're sitting here in Tara's room, rocking out to NCR and celebrating 2009, or the New Year! Which we don't really understand why people are making such a big deal about it, because really, one more year is one more year that everyone's closer to death. Whatever, suit yourself, humanity. Congratulations. Yeah, when you're closer to death.
Hello, Danny. Come play with us.
These are basically the people who embrace the dark themes and wear depression as a blanket. Yeah, no wonder why depression is so cute and trendy nowadays mixed with already skyrocketed suicidal tendencies. No, that's not what emos are. No stereotyping please. Not all of them wear exactly as they do. They have their own tastes. Guys please, all those who fake depression just because it's cute and trendy has to stop.
Stop it. Get some help.
Look, don't get me wrong, I know depression is very real. But apart from the real thing who suffers it privately and needs serious help, what I'm talking about is that there are others who use depression as an excuse or a tactic to gain attention in the era of the social media, normalized by weak-minded crybaby snowflakes. That's not depression, that's narcissism, which is a form of basic bitchery.
You're a basic bitch.
This would be for another topic. Satanic? How are drums and electric guitar satanic? Don't get me started with that. Dude, seriously, I'm Christian, Catholic specifically. I agree, there might be metal bands out there that might be satanic, but they're a minority. Metal has nothing to do with religion, it's about making music. For starters, you'll understand what I mean if you listen to Metallica. Just try and take a look at this meme instead.
Oh my gosh. This hurts.
Contrary to the popular myth that heavy metal is an angry music that's making people angry, it's actually making them calm. According to a recent research conducted by Leah Sharman, a psychology student with co-researcher and lecturer Genevieve Dingle from University of Queensland, heavy metal somewhat combats negative emotions such as anger, depression, isolation, and stress, coming from the data of 39 sample listeners. Well, try meditating while listening to Dyer's Eve.
Dear mother, what is this hell you have put me through? Believer, deceiver, day in, day out, live my life for you.
Heavy metal barely makes it on television now ever since Iron Maiden introduced it to MTV more than 30 years ago. I mean, they barely make it into the #1 music channel in the Philippines, Mix. But what about our favorite celebrities who are secretly metalheads, like Jim Carrey?
Recently, I've really started to get into this thrash metal music. I don't know, there's something about it, man, that I just can't let go.
Excuse me, it's Greg here. Thank you.
Demi Lovato?
Too, and I haven't listened to stuff in a while, like that type of music, but Job for a Cowboy.
Oh, wow. You're taking it metal.
Yeah, Bring Me the Horizon. It was Unearth and Demi Borgir. And somebody else. Yeah, I don't
More
remember.
intense than I am.
I know. And I headbanged the whole time. I was like this tall. I think it was like 95 pounds. I lost a shoe and I crowd surfed to the front. And they were like, I was like in the middle of the mosh pit, but I was going crazy because I loved it.
Usually a pop singer, but
Yeah, sure, exactly, yeah. Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, Slayer, Sepultura, Crumbsuckers, they were a speed metal band. Punk as well.
Rain and Blood?
Great album.
yeah, most of Magneto's favorite bands are actually my favorite ones too.
Slipknot. I went to a Slipknot concert. Was actually, to this day, probably the best concert I've ever gone to.
Is that right?
It was amazing. They're just amazing performers. Even if you don't like metal, I think you'd appreciate a Slipknot concert because it's just like incredible to watch.
Last is one of my favorite wizards in pop culture.
I did some work with a metal band called Rhapsody. I also contributed in a different way to something that was done by Man of War, with whom I would very much like to work again.
I haven't picked any of those celebrities as my favorite ones, but rather the Indonesian president, Joko Widodo. I mean, look at this guy. I'm inspired of his full-on metalhead dedication. He bought an $800 limited edition Metallica album from the Danish Prime Minister. Master of Puppets, one of Metallica's most important albums of all time. Oh yeah, and Indonesia has over 1,500 metal bands, making it the most metal country in Asia. I like this country already. Spotify not only labeling metalheads as their most popular listeners, but loyal as well for various reasons. Now this doesn't mean that metal is better than other genres or which is the best music. I'm not saying that metal is better than pop, jazz, EDM, hip-hop, and so on. Even metalheads would strongly disagree that metal is better than jazz. Because who knew that this generation of music, especially pop culture, sounds so repetitive? That the rapid rise of metalheads could only mean the rebellion against the repetitive, monotonous, mainstream music. Now that's just my opinion, but the mainstream always have thought that metal is dying or dead due to their decrease in popularity, which however isn't entirely true at all, because they were there this whole time. The metalheads have always been loyal to their favorite bands, that fans claim it to have been listening to it for 20 to 30 years since the early 80s. Metal is dead? Wrong. Despite its existence for over 50 years, metal is either only limited to your headphones or concerts, which is better, but never on MTV or the Billboard Top 100 ever again in the recent years. They only endorse repetitive, auto-tuned pop songs.
I feel like I'm being stung by like 1,000 bees all at once because it's just...
It's painful.
It's so auto-tuned and it's so beat corrected and it's so canned and processed and lifeless. And I mean, you might as well be listening to a fucking piece of wood. And to watch these people basically let a computer go through the motions and do all the work for them, it's insulting to everyone out there who has more talent and less attention.
But hey, at least some metal bands and hard rockers admit their favorite pop songs.
My guilty pleasure pop song.
California Girls.
I love this.
Sharona the Knack might be the best hook of all time.
That super repetitive Rihanna song. You know what? Better guilty pleasure is probably Bruno Mars.
River by Justin Timberlake. Him and his mother, and I told her that a woman has 3 holes between her legs.
Don't have one. I don't feel guilty about anything I listen to.
Wham! Careless Whisper.
Come on! Who doesn't like that song? No one's gonna dance with me.
You make my dreams come true. Hall Notes.
What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle.
Justin Bieber, I guess. I like a lot of his songs.
Listen to everything from ABBA to Anthrax. Deal with it. Deal with it!
Pop songs are so repeated, recycled, and repackaged over and over again, disregarding creativity that computers are now taking over. Now I don't mean to have someone taking over 2 minutes of my next point, but it seems my man Paul Joseph Watson did some pretty interesting research.
A 2012 study by the Spanish National Research Council found that music has been getting worse every year. They analysed nearly 500,000 songs stretching back 50 years, and the results were clear. In virtually every metric, from the timbral palette to pitch transitions, the way notes are used, the variety of intervals, and the difference between one melody and another, as we moved into the 21st century, every one of these metrics diminished, meaning everything began to sound the same. Music being overproduced in an effort to make it artificially louder also served to drown out the unique sounds of individual instruments, melodies, and vocals. Meanwhile, music in general has become so generic that artificial intelligence can now predict how popular a song is likely to be long before it's even released. Computers in laboratories have been writing entire albums for years. The modern pop song has become so samey that actual humans are no longer required to make it. Speaking on the subject of modern music, Madonna said, "Everything's so formulaic and everyone sounds the same." And that's because, as scientific studies have proven, pop music has become completely homogeneous, because listeners have been trained, or more accurately, indoctrinated, to be addicted to the most simplistic, repetitive beats and hooks. Lyrics have also been noticeably dumbed down over the past 20 years, to the point where much of what comes out of a singer's mouth now is mumbling gibberish. There's no commercial motivation to offer variety and complexity, only glib monotony.
Because music appears to be dying and people have found other things to do, I think the major labels just want to grab as much as they can as quickly as possible, so therefore they just watch those horrible talent show things with those small children and they sign them and they make quick money.
Again, I'm not saying that pop songs are bad and why I listen to heavy metal instead. The point is, if you're really into music in general, you have to jump from one genre to another. In other words, explore.
So I've been just slowly but surely kind of trying to put the message out there. It's like there's other types of music. There's better types of music. There's better musicians. There's better performers, better songwriters, better everything.
If I were to elaborate what Corey Taylor is saying, there are other great musicians out there not only limited to metal. The reason why metalheads are insulting pop music listeners as intellectually inferior is not because listening to pop music is dumb, but the fact that you rather isolate yourself and your taste into listening to only one genre like pop music is the reason that makes you dumb. Good for you, you're never alone planning to reject pop music anytime soon, if you stop listening to pop music. One more time, I am not saying that pop songs are bad. Look, before I was even a metalhead, I admit that one of my favorite bands is Maroon 5, Imagine Dragons, Coldplay, and Capital Cities. Until I explored further, then fell in love with Daft Punk. And Owl City. God, I love Owl City.
When the sun goes down and the lights burn out, then it's time for you to shine brighter than a shooting star. So shine no matter where you are.
All of a sudden is my interest in movie soundtracks. Great composers like Hans Zimmer, John Williams, Michael Giacchino, Steve Jablonsky, Ramin Djawadi from Game of Thrones, and Brian Tyler are great. While I was studying to College of Performing and Visual Arts, we were taught to listen to music in history, because Beethoven was more metal during his time. Or how about Johann Sebastian Bach, who composed Toccata and Fugue in D minor? I hope you like music in the medieval times. Only 12th century kids will remember this. Sounds familiar. Guys, explore! I'm not saying that you have to be a metalhead, just think outside of the box. But just remember, there is no shame in listening to pop music, and there is no shame in listening to metal either. So how about one more head-banging song before I end this video? Please smash that subscribe button, it really helps to support my channel.